All right, let's get back to Channel 1's Giverson Maina, who is on standby to give us the latest developments. This as 15 candidates were shortlisted for the position of DPP early last month, and today we are having a number of them facing the panel in the county of Nairobi. Giverson, good afternoon once again.
Now we are coming to live from this commission headquarters along Arambe Avenue in the interviews for the position of Director of Public Prosecution is being held, and of course that selection panel is being led by Solicitor General Shadrack Mose and other members of that selection panel being Kotu Secretary General, that is Francis Atoli. Of course, other members of this DPP selection panel is the EACC Chief Executive Officer, and the other person being Public Service Principal Secretary Mary Kimonye, and others are Richard Onsongo and of course Bush Obocha. And of course 15 candidates are battling to replace Wanudin Haji, who is now the NIS Director General. And of course the interviews have been going on since morning, but only 2 of them have been able to complete that interview. That candidate is currently facing that selection panel. Of course, earlier in the morning, they started with the interview of one Thomas Letangule. Letangule is the commissioner. And of course, the second person who was able to face that the DPP selection panel is one Jacinta Nyaboke Nyamosi. And Nyamosi is the prosecutor who ably prosecuted the case of one Willie Paul Kimani, the lawyer who was killed by, among other convicts, being 2 policemen, and of course, or rather 3 policemen, and of course 1 police in of the police. And of course, the third person is Victor Vinya Mule. And before I even go on, Nyamosi is also the assistant deputy assistant DPP. Of course, the third person who is facing the DPP selection panel right now is one Victor Vinya Mule, and Mule is also a deputy director at the office of the deputy, or rather at the ODPP. And of course, that person who will be the fourth person who will face that panel is one Taib Ali Twaib. These are the expected people late in the day, and of course, one Tabitha Wanyama Oyua, and of course, David Kiplagat, Ruto Tor, and of course we're also expecting the 7th person to close these interviews by the end of closed business today, being Dunstan Omari Mogoka. This is a renowned lawyer in the country, and of course a television panelist who was crisscrossing your television channels from day to day. And of course, being the 15 candidates who are facing this election panel, this exercise is expected to go on up to tomorrow. Of course, now the selection panel will have to conduct the second batch of these interviews by tomorrow. So today is quite intense activity, and of course tomorrow we'll also expect candidates to be interviewed by this selection panel that is being led by Solicitor Shadrack Mose. And as I told you, the 15 candidates are battling to replace the former director of the former DPP, rather one Nordin Haji, who is now the NIS Director General. Of course, we keep on here to just ensure we bring you these pictures in our subsequent bulletin at about 7, of course, and also even at 9 p.m. So far, there's not so much, but we're also expecting to speak to these candidates once they're out of that room, the selection this room, just to speak to them and have a feeling of how the experience has been during the interviews. But also, just to inform you, is that the interviews are closed door, and because we spoke to one of the officials, they are saying that it's being held, at a closed door because the questions are similar, and so they don't want to, give undue advantage to the candidates who are still coming in for interviews. Back to in studio.